Everyone, I'm Rob,
And I'm Taylor.
and this is the Very Much So podcast. Okay, well, Taylor, I am very happy to be here with you on this evening. Honey, this is the debut episode of the Very Much So podcast, and I
Oh
feel
my gosh.
like it's about to be iconic.
Oh yeah.
So let's get into just, I guess, explaining who the hell we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So my name is Taylor, as you just said, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm originally from East Tennessee, a small town called Athens. It's right in between Knoxville and Chattanooga. I am 26. I'm a Cancer. So we'll get that out there. And yeah, I think you said that's what we were going to do. Tell us about you.
Yes, my name is Rob or Robert. I am originally from Memphis, Tennessee, born, bred, and buttered, and I am a dainty, cute 25 years old.
Yes, dainty and cute. Okay.
Currently, we are both living in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Yes.
here doing our due diligence, getting our career together, getting our education together. We are repping grad students, aka Black Excellence, aka First and Finest. Go ahead, rep yourself.
Yes, Kiwi, my sorors. We originally met, well, we knew each other from undergrad, but we didn't really know each other during undergrad. But yeah, we got put in a couple group projects together our first semester in this grad program, and it's been history. The rest has been history. We've been dang near attached at the hip ever since. Well, I was remote for a little bit, but since I've been back. No, but yeah, Rob the foodie.
Yes.
You
Robin
know,
Moody is my alter ego. I have very much so, a thriving food passion, and I have a whole world of social media dedicated to my cooking and to me posting, and that is really, and that's something interesting about the both of us because you're in the education slash corporate world, I'm in the corporate world, but I think we both have aspirations of transitioning out of that and into our
yeah,
creative life, which is very much a big part of what we do on the day to day, and you give that every day with Miss Joy Journey and all the things, honey.
yeah. So I honestly, I've been kind of inconsistent with my creativity lately, just trying to wrap my life around being a full time grad student and employee. But yes, I do. I make some earrings. I like to write and blog and all the things. And I'm trying to be more consistent with those things. I'm out here trying to adult. Trying to figure this thing out. But
Oh,
yeah, out of the out of the 9 to 5 is calling my name. Let's tell the people why we're actually here. Like we know each other.
mhm.
We're besties or whatever. Why are we starting a podcast?
Well, this actually has been in conversation for damn near a year at this point. It really started with your blog, Joy Journey. I was obsessed with just the whole brand behind it. It was amazing, amazing color scheme, amazing posts, amazing content. I was just really like, oh my God, this is something that is like really sickening. And then
Thank
it turned into me saying, "Oh, girl, I would love to like us do a live together, or for whatever topic you are posting about, and us
you.
having
Yeah.
a conversation." And then I guess over time it progressed into like, okay, we should do a consistent thing of like every other week or whatever, where us going on Instagram Live and just go covering a different topic. And then in the beginning of this year, you were like, okay, that's cute, but we need to like really do this. And like we could do topics, have a whole thing in place, and then we were like, should we do live or should we record it? And I was like, well, if we don't record it, we can just do a podcast because that's what that
Okay. And here we are now. Okay. Lord, not the speaker that went off. I forgot the speaker was on. Yeah, I think that I found that we became so close so fast because of our ability to really like we could both share in our experience of being one of few Black people, people of color, queer people in our program,
Mhm.
and it was difficult to find people to relate to. But then once we found our little, group of friends, I think that was has really truly been transformative, for our personal lives, for our academic lives. Like really, just like we're not classmates, we're friends, right? Like we but I think that came through us actually being able to share our experiences with each other and tell our stories, to each other. I think that, we would probably say that we've been some of the most like open and vulnerable. Or I would at least would say that like I've been just like so open and vulnerable in a way that I don't know that I have been, always with friends. And so, I think that us being able to share those experiences and our stories really helped our friendships progress and helped us be able to find a sense of community.
Now y'all may hear that and say, "Okay, that's cute, but why are we here? Why are we listening?" And honey, the goal is to create that same energy, that same fire, that same community with the people listening. And
Yes.
this is a very much so a space for the queer people of color, but it's open to everybody. Like we're
Yes.
just speaking from our own experiences, and really the goal is to, of course, have a kiki, of course, do all the things, tell funny stories, tell embarrassing stories, everything that you may relate to, but it's also to learn, laugh, and grow with each other.
Yes.
So I'm very
Yes.
excited for this journey. I know that Miss Joy Journey is excited, and it's gonna be a key.
Yes. A key, if you will. So, what are we talking about today, Rob?
What was so funny is when we were first building our friendship in this program, I had actually just come out in the beginning of our first year, which leads into our topic, which is coming out and
Yes.
talking about how that journey was for us. And really, the main question is it necessary to come out to your family? There's child.
Dun dun dun. Let's talk about it. You said child.
Mhm.
Tell me, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on is it necessary to come out to your family?
Whew. Well, first of all, it took me 24 years just to come out to my damn self. So I think before people, and I think that's a big thing too. People, the main, well, at least from my experience, my main issue was that held me back from coming out was being afraid of my family and friends' reaction. When in
Hmm.
reality, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I was myself in denial of my own sexuality. So I had to take time to come out to myself and let myself get more comfortable with my identity before I could even go to my family. But to answer your question, no, I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I'm sure, like, for me personally, I came out to some family members just because they were the ones that were the most consistent in my life, that had invested the most in my life. And I felt like I owed them that part of that level of vulnerability for me. Um, but everyone else, I was like, you know, you'll see, you'll find out when you find out. If you're shocked, then there's a problem.
Mm,
So,
okay.
because like there are just certain characteristics that I was just like, if you didn't know from the beginning, I don't know what to tell you. So
Yeah.
that was my
Have you had any family members like feel some type of way that you didn't say anything, or any like negative experiences with family members who you did tell or didn't tell?
honestly no. Like no one has even come to me and even asked me or even said anything about it. I mean, I post things on my social media all the time. And I mean, granted, I don't do a lot on Facebook, and that's where a lot of my family is. But I do, I have some cousins on Instagram or whatever, or friends or old classmates that are on Instagram that see what I post, and
Yeah.
no, nobody has had anything to say.
Okay, okay. But I think that, and I'm gonna answer the same question. Tell my stories too. But I think that that's something that I feel like should be more normalized, right? Like I hope one day like we can. Mm, why it's coming out a thing, right? Because we live in a heteronormative society, right? Where like you assume that being heterosexual is the norm, is like what is for a lot of people like right or correct. And so then everyone else is othered, and then it puts us in these positions to have to announce to the world, like straight people don't announce that they're straight. But anyway, so I think that I would have loved to live in a world where I could just like live and be myself and not have to worry about the, as you said, like pressure from family or society or friends, about what they were going to think or what they were going to say or what they were going to do, whatever. Um,
Absolutely.
mm. Well, I'm glad that ain't nobody come out of left field acting crazy or nothing.
Oh, baby, I want them. I would love for them to have anything to say. I invite it. I invite it.
Oh, you are something.
I also want to add that my journey to coming out started in the pandemic during the beginning
Mm,
of quarantine because I had gone through. I mean, my period of denial was so intense. I was really like, it's just gonna take time. I'll find the right woman, or it's just I need to lose weight, or I need to
mm,
go out more and be more open. And instead of getting to the core of what it was, and it took the pandemic and me being closed off in my one bedroom apartment by myself for me to really face my reality because I really covered myself with work, with school, with just extra stuff that to keep me busy that kept me from having to think about it. So when I had nothing, zero going on, I had to sit with my thoughts.
yeah.
And it took me a couple months to go through those stages of um, being angry, being in
Mm,
denial, and then getting to acceptance, and then being able to embrace it for
yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And so then, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about well, tell me, but I guess also the listeners. But what what still sticks with you about those different phases that you went through?
Mm,
Those like during that process of, I guess, healing.
yeah, I I had to let my teenage self heal because
Mm,
there was so much that I had suppressed or experienced, and nothing like I had a great childhood. I had both my parents in my life, both fabulous, amazing people. I had my
they
siblings.
are. Yes.
Yes, yes. So they were never just outright violent or homophobic towards me. But there are certain things culturally that you just grow up doing, saying, being a part of, and you don't realize how it's affecting someone in your life. So I had
Mhm.
that from my like immediate environment, but also from school. Like I was bullied in school. People were talking about me behind my back or straight in my face. They were just doing saying a lot of mean things that
Yeah.
and I was never the aggressive or like controversial kid. Like I was shy, I was quiet, I was a pushover, no shade to me.
Mm,
And I just kind of sat there and took it because I was too ashamed to even talk to anyone about it because what had been said to me indirectly from my environment was that being gay is a sin. It is disgusting. It is um, a sign of disrespect to God. And
mm,
so, having that in my mind, I was like, I don't want to. I don't want this.
mm.
I don't want anything to do with this. But it's so deep in my core. Like it's a part of me. It's how I naturally come into the world. So it was always just this pressure in my spirit of like, oh my God, I can't even be myself. Like
Wow.
I always had a dark cloud over me. I always just did what I thought everybody wanted me to do instead of what I was actually wanting to do. And I grew up not only um, having depression the whole time without realizing it, but also that being my norm. Like
Yeah.
that's what I was used to.
Yeah.
So I was used to walking around, with my head down everywhere. I was used to just kind of finding a corner, being to myself all the time. And so those are some of the things that I had to take myself back to, and then I had to go through the emotion that I had, but wasn't allowed to express. So there were a
Mm.
lot of days I was just straight up on the couch crying, not eating, not doing anything. I was just like boo hoo crying, and days where I was being angry, wouldn't call my parents or anybody because I was angry at certain things they had said or did that I never addressed, uh,
Mm.
and that took a while. But I had to unpack all of that and just let myself feel those emotions. It was not fun at all, but it was a necessary step. So that's the part that sticks out to me the most. That was
Wow.
really what elevated me to being able to get up and
Mhm.
um, be proud of myself and love me, because the whole time before I had not even cared about me, honestly.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like so much of what you just said I relate to.
Mm.
Um whew.
I, I didn't mean
Thank
to
you
go
for
there.
sharing. No, no, thank you for sharing. I think that at least for me, that's part of what I think is going to be a beautiful thing with very much so is that we can go there, right? And we can also bring it back up and have a kiki and,
Yeah.
so yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'll answer the question too. I also don't think that coming out to your family is necessary. I I wouldn't even say that I have come out. Like I wouldn't say that I have had a true like coming out experience. Like I've had a couple experience. Well, okay. I'll take that back. I struggled with it for a long time. I like didn't really say anything. I think that I knew that I liked men and women by the time that I was like 12. I don't know. Like I was young. Like definitely by like I want to say 8, but definitely by 12. Like before you're like actually in middle school. So
That's so funny. Not to cut you off. That's so funny you say 12,
yeah.
because that is the exact age for me. Like I felt it way before, but at 12 I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, yeah. So like I definitely knew well before 8th grade, I would say, but like similar to what you were saying, I felt a lot of pressure like both unspoken and spoken
Mhm.
around it because I think especially with bisexuality, all of um, all of non-hetero people for experience different things, but I think with bisexuality there's this like underlying notion that like you're confused or you're
Mhm.
nasty or like all of these other things that come like nah you're like I think for bisexual men like oh no he's just DL for bisexual women like oh like she doesn't really know what she wants like whatever and yeah, and like that's how I felt like I was nasty for like liking who I liked, like for having conversations. And I think that then impacted like what my dating life looked like in high school. And I mean, people have different opinions on when you should be able to date, whatever. Like people start liking people literally by 8 years old. It anyway, I think that even with like I guess strict parents, like in high school, people start dating. I know I have friends who have married their high school sweetheart, literally, like whatever.
Mhm.
I didn't have an opportunity to healthily date in high school because I felt like I was going to get in trouble. Like literally, like I was going to get in trouble if my parents found out or like I had like other experiences not related to my sexuality but with other things where like you
Mhm.
know I sent something to somebody and they showed somebody and their mom figured out. It was like, oh my God, Rob, like small town shit. Like I tell you, I just small town shit. But like I think that like made me build this shell where I always kept people at an arm's distance because I didn't know like who I could really trust, I guess, to like hold my secret. And the fact that it had to be a secret felt like so heavy, right? Like I felt so heavy for so many years. And there were times when like things would come up, you know, like, oh, I've been talking to somebody on MySpace and my mom finds out, and then we have a conversation. I'm like, okay, I'll stop, you know, like I just won't talk to her anymore, or you know, like whatever, instead of like actually like processing how I felt, acknowledging and like giving validity to my feelings and then communicating those. I would just kind of um deny it. You know, I think I had, similar to you, a real period of denial, or just like trying to like be like, no, I don't want this. Like, let me like just pray about it. And I think also like I dated guys too, you know, like so
Mhm.
there was like, not that I was covering, because like I had I guess like if I would call any of the like people that I dated in high school dating, I feel like I had the same with a few girls as well. So you know, like I just, but it was always like so secretive. And but I think that some of how I felt also came from, as you said, like things that happen in the family, right? Like you're at a family event and your aunt's over here talking about some, oh yeah, that dyke, all she does is like the lip, you know, and like, and I'm like, wow, when I see how y'all talk about other people, that doesn't really make me want to share my experiences around y'all. Like I'm good on it. And I think that for like it was a defense mechanism in a lot of ways because I didn't want to be treated or talked to or talked about the way that I had heard so many people around me talk about gay people,
Yes,
queer people.
it's
Um, yeah, it was icky, I will say. Like I don't know, like that's such a like childish word, but it was heavy. And
hmm
yeah, I think that, you know, I'm talkative, I'm extroverted, I feel like I'm loud. But I felt like so alone for so long because it
mm,
took a while for me to find people who I felt like I could really be my full self with. And it took a while for me to get comfortable in acknowledging who I really was.
right.
And yeah, I think that I also like you. I ran. I kept myself busy. I was always at something, or I was always with somebody, or like I just never like I would be so lonely when I was alone.
Mhm.
And that's been something that's been so important to me since I moved back to Nashville, like getting my apartment, living alone, and like really being able to be alone without feeling lonely. Like, nah, I enjoy my company. Like, I know myself. I I feel like I said that I love myself for like the first time in so long, like
Mhm.
a few months ago, right? Like I think I said it in the caption, like I'm I'm like figuring out who I am, and like I love her. Like I do, like I really love myself. And that, like you, like it took me having to like get alone and get comfortable with who I was, and acknowledge that. The only family that I've really come out to, my sister, my cousin, and then I've had conversations with my mom about it, but that only came up because of conversations that I had had in therapy, right? Where I was like unpacking how, you know, like she's she's Christian. She's like moderate in her political. You know, she's I like have a great relationship with my mom. Like
Mhm.
love her, my parent. You know, like whatever. So not to say that she didn't love me or anything like that,
Right.
um, but yeah, I only really had conversations with her because of things that were coming up in therapy, and you know, it was a good conversation, but I do still feel like I'll be interested to see her reaction if and when she watches this episode. You know, like
Hmm.
I think it wasn't really ever about me or how much she loved me. I think it was about what she felt like other people would say, or her feeling like I might go to hell, or like other things. And so she didn't want anybody else to know. So like to this, my dad may be like blown away. I don't know if I've never had a conversation with him about it, like I don't know, like if he listens to this, yeah, like.
Okay.
And I haven't talked to really anybody else in my family about it.
Mhm.
I never went there. I guess I was so scarred.
Once you go through the work of being comfortable with yourself and your sexuality,
Yes,
everybody else goes out the
yes,
window.
like
Like
whatever.
when
Yeah,
my family, I didn't tell them this, but in my mind, I was like, this is just a courtesy. Like I really don't need to do this. Like everybody else,
girl.
world can, because that's what I felt robbed of. Just the
Mm,
ability to explore with other people in relationships and be able to talk about who I liked, what I liked. Like I'm
yeah,
just figuring out what even my type is, what
yes,
I'm like looking for in a partner, because I missed out on those teenage years and those college years of being able to be open about it.
yeah,
I feel like so you want me to I have to hide all of this for so long, and now I have to come and tell you who I
yes.
am? No, like you can you'll be fine. Now I have a question. This might be
Oh,
this might be slightly messy, but we need to get into it.
not
Because
messy.
when we described this podcast earlier, we said there was going to be a key as well as laughing, learning, and growing. So, what are your thoughts on? Because you know how some people say that um bisexual women have a
Mm,
different experience because, well, I guess depending. Anyway, they have a different experience because um it
they
seems
can
like
pass.
from the outside that
Like,
they don't get as much backlash because they
oh, okay,
because
yeah.
of being with men. It's almost like some women are allowed to be able to explore in
Hmm.
a way that bisexual men are not.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, and do you believe that? Blah blah blah.
I definitely think that there is a harsher stigma associated with bisexual men than bisexual women. It's like there there I could probably list you 10 girls I know right now who would, when asked, are you lesbian, bisexual, LGBTQ, any of anything not heterosexual, they would say no, they're heterosexual, they're straight.
Hmm.
And then if you ask them, have you ever or would you ever kiss a girl? They would say yes. Like it's, and guys would cheer them on and people would take pictures and post it on Instagram. And the shit is cute. Like, oh, if you're a girl, if it's a guy hitting on a girl and she's like, yeah, I'm bisexual, it's like, oh, thoughts automatically go to like, oh, what's Drake's song? Girls like girls. My
Hmm.
girl got a girlfriend. If we taking it all the way back, it's definitely seen as okay. Like it's like all right, maybe exotic, maybe confused, maybe freaky, but okay. Whereas for men, it I think that I even like went through a time where I had to like confront my own like internalized homophobia and like um how I like had privilege in ways within the community as well. So yeah, I think that men definitely have harsher stereotypes, uglier looks, like more questions. Like, nah, he's gay. Like ain't no bisexual man. He's gay. And like, and like I don't. We don't know their experiences, and also like, why do y'all care? Why does what people are doing in their own homes, bedrooms, and I guess not everybody is doing the things in their homes and their bedrooms. But why is what people are doing in private such of concern to other people?
Right.
Like what Jay-Z say, like what you eat don't make me shit. who
Jay Z said that.
um or who you fuck don't make me come, something like that. Like I
Work.
that you know, and so I just to answer your question, I do think that that is a reality for bisexual men and women, and I think that it's shitty, but I think that it's also a subcategory of general homophobia,
Hmm.
and a lot of like that I think being deeply rooted in religion.
So true. I know for me, I had to face, at this point, we might as well have a bisexuality episode. At this point, I would say I had my own, what's the word? I don't know. I have my own issues with bisexuality that wasn't even really about them. It was about my own internalized homophobia, like you mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
Like I was the person that was like, I'm not gonna date no bi man. A bi man is just the DL. And I
Mm,
had to, it was I guess a couple months ago I had to realize, like, for one, yes, there are DL men, but that does not automatically equate bisexual men to DL men.
mm.
Like just because he's a bisexual does not mean he's DL. Doesn't even mean
Agree.
he's gay. It means he likes men and women.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I used to be like, if you are claiming to be a bisexual person and you've only been with the opposite gender, then you're lying. But then now
Mm,
that I'm mature, I was like, what is the proper ratio that would qualify someone as bisexual? There is no right ratio.
mhm.
50% being with women, 50% being with
Yeah.
30, 40, I mean 30, 70.
Yeah.
None of that exists. It's how the person feels and what they want in that.
Right. And I think that another thing is that people are so hyper focused on sex that they're not thinking about like the attraction, right? And like I have had long term, like I've been in a long term relationship with a man, and I was bisexual the whole time, right? Like, like being able to communicate in a relationship, and also being able to like acknowledge who you are and what you like and all of these things. Why is it so taboo to people? Why do people feel like, oh no, they're just gonna cheat, like they're just gonna leave you for someone of the opposite sex? Like, no, you haven't dated anybody or you haven't had sex yet, so you don't really know. It's like it it's not about the physicality of it. It's about the feelings, the attraction, the like
Absolutely.
I yeah.
Girl, we need to have an episode misconceptions of bisexuality. We need to have we need
Oh,
it. We need
I'll
it.
add it to the list. I'm glad that we could have this conversation about our own experiences, and I'm interested to hear as our listeners and viewers engage about their experiences, because there are so many varying experiences, and not all of them are trauma filled, or as complex, or as just they're not all like ours.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
That's a
I'm
great point.
yeah.
If there is anyone who is listening or watching or both, please comment below what your coming out experience was, if you feel comfortable doing so, and let us know
Yeah.
if you resonated with anything that we said.
Yes, please do. And for anyone who's listening who is struggling, trying to decide, are you coming out to your family? Is it important to you? Whew, I'm sending you lots of like love and positive energy, on this journey, and I think that only you guys can make those decisions for yourself. But I think, Rob, both you and I had to do what was best for us at the end of the day, right? And like I think
Mhm.
psychological and physical safety, is key, and I want people to feel mentally safe and also physically safe in their coming out experiences. But yeah, like, do y'all live y'all best gay lives out here, and comment, Tell us your experiences. We want to hear from y'all.
That marks the end of our first episode. Oh my god, it's giving very much so debut.
That's the one. Yes, I'm so glad that we did this. I'm so glad that I got to spend this time chatting with you. So thank you, Rob, for sharing your experiences with me and with everyone listening.
Yes, thank you, friend. Y'all, we will let y'all know we are not only will be on podcast. There will be highlights across our social medias. There will be highlights on YouTube, on the Tick of the Talk, and we will be all over. Okay, so if you can't watch a full episode, there will be clips all over.
Yes, indeed. And so, yeah, follow us, find us on the socials at Very Much So Podcast. And we can't wait to engage with y'all.
I can't wait. Y'all, please comment. Please do all the things so we can talk with y'all.
Yes. Yes, let's key in the comments.
Oh,
With a hashtag. That's a hashtag. Yeah.
oh my god, I love that
Key in the comments. Okay.
word.
All right, Rob. Well, thank you, and enjoy your evening, friend.
You too. Enjoy your evening.
Yes.
Hello.
These my daddies make it hurt.
Intro music is at this point.
Okay.
Hold up. Why
Oh,
is your audio not moving?
my audio is moving.
Okay.
Hello. Hey,
Can you
can you
hear
hear
me?
me? I can hear you.
That triggered the fuck out of me. I saw that. I saw because mine was moving, but yours is just at a standstill. I was like, oh, here we go.